Shake your dreams from your hair. I'm already there, right beside you. So please, don't hide your safe. I'll be there if it breaks, right beside you. Suddenly I know now how it feels. I no longer have to beg or steal. I can stand now on this higher ground, where love is just a sound.
Good morning, everyone. Crystal here from Gecko Diva, and welcome to Coffee and Cresties. Wow, this mug is very iridescent in the light where I'm using my phone camera right now. Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend, trying to sort out this tech stuff. I am not a techie by any means. And it's been a little glitchy lately trying to do these on Sundays. I don't know why. I've had no issues in the past. I mean, we're in March now, so I've been doing Coffee and Cresties for about a year. Yeah, I think I have to check the date of the first Coffee and Cresties because we might actually have surpassed our 1 year anniversary doing this. But yeah, I don't know what's been going on, but my computer's been glitchy. I spent a little over 3 hours on Saturday with Geek Squad. I don't know if people in the States have the same thing. With Best Buy here, we have Geek Squad. I think you guys have the same thing. So I ended up signing up with them to see what was going on with the computer because I had Norton antivirus on my computer and it kept wanting me to upgrade to add new services. So it was asking me to upgrade my drivers, and I was like, okay, that's it. I refuse to pay more money for yet another upgrade, or at least my husband, it's on his card. So he refuses to pay more money for another upgrade. And I was thinking maybe that was slowing it down. So at the end of the day, after talking to some people and running some speed tests, our speed for the internet for Wi-Fi seems to be fairly quick. My phone is running speed twice as fast as the laptop. So what I'm going to end up having to do is get an extender so that I can plug in, because right now the plug-in for the internet is in our son's room. And one, I'm not streaming from an 18-year-old boy's room. That's not gonna happen. And I don't think he wants me to set up a corner in his room anyways, where it's gonna look all nice and, fancy for a podcast. So I think, unless I stream from his one little gaming corner, which has a lot of senators stuff, but yeah, that's not the ideal situation. So today, learning from last week, I'm streaming in on my phone today. So the camera's a little bit different. And we have Neo saying something here. Sorry, I have both screens here. Is he a gamer? Haha, needs the direct connection. So he is a gamer. The reason he has the direct connection is because we have Starlink. So we're in the country, and Starlink is right by where his room is, and that's where all the internet cables and stuff were being routed into the house. So it's kind of right through that wall area there, and it's set up in his room. So our reptile rooms, he's up like on the main level on the opposite side of the house, whereas our reptile rooms are in the basement and on the other side of the house. So to be able to kind of bring a wire is a little bit complicated. And yeah, so my husband's saying he's not direct, it's just in his room. He doesn't connect directly to it. But he has a really strong connection because it's literally right on his table, by his TV. So yeah, so we're trying to troubleshoot. Mark over at the Gecko Room gave me some good advice on that. So we're going to try to do some extenders and see if I can get it, going up on the computer. But I have to say that the camera, even though it's not as crisp on the phone, the lighting looks better than it does in the Logitech. I'm like, oh, I don't look as washed out because I have the same lighting in the room, but I actually look like I actually have color in my face right now. So we'll have to figure out the lighting too. So there's a whole bunch of things that I'm going to sort out. Let's see who's in this morning, and we'll say some good mornings. If you see me looking this way, it's because this is where I have the screen with all the comments. And I have seen a couple people saying sounds clear, looks very clear. That's good news. I'm glad we're not glitchy. So we have Ramery's Royals in the house. Good morning. Cassandra's in the house. Good morning. This is Highland Geckos. Apparently I can't read this morning. My apologies. Good morning. And also saying everything sounds clear. Looks very clear. That's good. Neo in the house. Thought so. Talking about his gaming. Good morning. My hubby's in the house. Good morning. He went and ventured to get some coffee this morning in some pretty crappy weather. Shaggy Snacks in the house. Hey, how's everyone's morning? It's been eventful. Hopefully everyone's having a great Sunday morning. And then we have Sandra from Sweden. Good afternoon from Sweden. Thank you for joining us. Let's pop into our tea time. So I'll just bring that up. All right. So it's a bit of a delay when I'm doing it on the phone because it's not as instant, and I have the volume down on my computer where it's more instant because then there's an echo. So tea time today. There was a few things. Well, for one, we're in an ice storm, so I'm actually very thankful we're not out of power here. We got quite a bit of snow yesterday, which was a little sad because we had no snow and it was really warm, and now we got dumped. There is people, however, in the Peterborough area and surrounding area in that side, heading towards Toronto and stuff, that are having power outages. And they've had power outages since yesterday. I've chatted actually with one breeder this morning about that. And this Sunday is the expo in Toronto and Mississauga. So for anyone who is venturing there or knows anyone venturing there, very safe drive. For all the vendors, I wish you guys a very safe drive as well when you pack up and head home. And also, heading from your hotels and stuff or wherever you're coming from for the expo this morning. This is unfortunately the second expo that's had bad weather. So I really wish the best for everybody who is vending, that you're having, a good show and it's going to be a good turnout. But yeah, again, be safe. And for those of you who are stuck at home because of the weather, well, not necessarily the weather, but because you have no power, I feel for you because I know that the weather's dropped, like the temps have dropped, and it's not pleasant to lose power when it's cold out, and especially when you're, when you have a whole bunch of reptiles that you're having to keep warm. So like in our case, I mean, we have a generator. We don't have anything. Well, I was going to say we don't have anything in the incubator, but I actually got 2 eggs yesterday, the 2 first eggs of the season. And they're looking like, they look like duds, but we'll see. I've put them in the incubator. We'll see in a week what comes of it. But it's a bit early because usually I start getting eggs in April, May. But yeah, so just Stay positive, everybody. The spring's around the corner. It's going to come. I did forget to mention last week, Brian from Who's Geckos did a first Palm Street in a while, which was awesome. Great turnout and a lot of support, which is really, really nice to see. There's been a lot of awesome videos on YouTube being shared. Flora Fauna's coming up, so there's a lot of great things. Show seasons, really underway. One thing I noticed, I did mention, was it IB Exotics had posted something that said that there was a gecko that was taken at a show. So I do hope that they get their gecko back. I'm just kind of trying to think off the news this week. If anyone ever has anything and you're watching and you have positive things you want to share, by all means, put it in the comments. Even if you're coming back and this is a replay, you're watching after the fact, after the live, you can still put comments and give shout outs to people and show your support. That's what this tea time is about. So I'm trying to stick away from any of the negative stuff. But definitely, you could definitely share in here. I think I may have seen some things pop up because I did ask this morning, but because I'm streaming on my phone, I can't go to Instagram to go see if people have shared. So I'll try to do that a little bit sooner and allow for more time next week. Not actually sure if I have a show next week or the week after. I will be following up on that. But yeah, so that's our tea time for today. You guys aren't here. I mean, you've been sitting here listening to me for over 10 minutes chatting, and let's be real, you're all here to see Megan and talk spots and all the cool projects that she has with her business. So let's go right in and bring out our guest. Good morning, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. It's been a little rough morning getting up and getting going and getting ready, and I was running late, like always, it seems. So my own dogs are barking. Hopefully that will stop. But
Hey,
yeah,
I just,
I'm good. I'm good. It's warm here. It's I heard about your storm. It's been warm, like 70s here, but then next week I think it's gonna get into like the 30s again. So
oh wow. So where are you located for people who don't know?
I'm in a Columbus, Ohio suburb, so right in the middle of Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, it's been weird weather that we're having here because it would go really, really warm and it felt like spring, and you see grass starting to grow, and then we just got dumped. Here we got a lot of snow, other places got a lot of ice. And when you're seeing the ice, it's like thick around the branches. It's kind of depressing to see, but hopefully the weather will pick up again and it'll start to get nice and warm and everything's gonna melt. Round
Yeah,
two.
yeah. I love winter, but I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for warm. So
Yeah, you and me both. Tis the season. Have you had any eggs start, like, is your season started yet? Or
yes, I have. I started pairing in January, like late January, and I have probably 25 eggs or so. Um, I feel like it's earlier this year than it was last year. I started not pairing as early because I felt like most geckos wouldn't even start laying till March, April. So I'm
yeah,
like, why am I pairing so early? So I kind of, because I used to pair like late December, but I'm like,
okay,
that's silly, like they're on this natural like light cycle, like it's getting lighter, longer, warmer, and so I'm trying to just kind of follow more of the naturals, you know,
yeah.
schedule. So, but I've had people reaching out to me lately, my geckos aren't laying eggs yet. And, it takes a while sometimes for that first set. I mean, I've had geckos take 60 days or longer, and then I have to repair them. So I feel like it's different for everybody.
Yeah, and like I find for me, I have earlier this season, I have a lot of like first time pairings where this is going to be their first season. and a lot of my more seasoned ladies aren't going to be paired until later. Like so I have some males, some new males that are coming in April, that the whole plan is, once they're out of quarantine, that I'll end up being able to do some pairing. So the girls get some time off, but I'm like, oh, then it's a little up in the air. You're not sure what you're gonna get. You're not sure really when they're gonna start because this is their first season, right?
Yeah. Yep,
So,
exactly. It's exactly. They're all different. I've had some first timers that laid right away fertiles, and then others, that laid a set of duds, and I'm hoping for fertiles next time. So
yeah. Just want to say good morning, Michael. Thanks for joining this morning. Um, Before we get into some of your projects and stuff, why don't you share with everyone how you got into Cresties and like how you started this business in the first place?
oh gosh, it's kind of a funny story. Growing up, I had tons of animals. I had reptiles. I had, snakes. I didn't have geckos, but, I feel like you name it, I had it. My mom volunteered for a wildlife center here. So we always had, orphan baby animals that are in the wild here, raising them, and, snakes, birds, squirrels, all that kind of stuff. So I love animals in general. I've had a lot of animals for a while, but the Crested Geckos started. My son years ago got a White's tree frog, and this White's tree frog ended up getting really sick a couple years later, and I tried to save it, couldn't, and he wanted another one. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe we should go with something different. And our friend had a couple Crested Geckos. And I was like, wow, those are really cool. Let's get one of those. So we went to Pet Supplies Plus, the local pet store here. This was like 7 years ago. I think we've had
Okay.
Spike for 7 years. And we got Spike. He just was a little guy at the time. And it took him like 4 years to grow to adult size, because I was not feeding him crickets because I didn't know any better. Nobody really told me, they just said feed the powder. And I'm like, this gecko, and I hand fed him, like literally like spoon fed him, because I'm like, he's not eating, because I put him in, I took this little gecko and I put him in a 12 by 12 by 18.
So he could find his food.
I'm like, I made this great, tank, and not doing well in it. So, and I didn't know any better, So we had him, and then it was, I think 2020. I don't remember if it was me or my son's idea, like, hey, we should breed Spike. And so that was my initial, like, I'm going to breed Spike. Now, Spike is just like a low expression flame. Like, he's brown, he's very cute, and he's cute. He has a huge head. He's a huge gecko. But so I started looking into getting a female. We went to a local reptile show, and people were like, oh yeah, female Crested Geckos are like going to run you at least $200. And I'm like, $200? There's no way I'm paying, no way I'm paying $200 for one. And I laugh at that now. And so I kept looking. I ended up getting a Harlequin off of somebody that didn't want it anymore. And I was going to breed them together. And then I'm like, this is not, I had people telling me on a gecko website, they're like, this is not, you don't want to do that. So then I ended up finding someone kind of local to me. She ended up being, she's a good friend of mine. Her name's Devin. She had Lizzie. So I know probably a lot of people know Lizzie. Lizzie's mom to all my ink spot babies. She also produces bullseyes. But so I got Lizzie when she was like 20 grams, and she had, spots, but not a lot yet. They weren't huge. And so then I'm like, well, wait, I want more Dalmatians. These are so cool. So then the rest is history. So I ended up with one Dalmatian, and now my whole collection is Dalmatians. I have one lily white, a phantom lily white, and then I have a gecko for a friend that I have. But all the rest, other than Spike, are Dalmatians.
Okay, so that's basically your main project is Dals.
Yeah.
Which we see a lot of really awesome Dals that you produce, which is great.
Thank you.
And also means you're a very patient person.
Yes. Yes, it takes a while for Dals too. I say in my experience, most spots come between 10 to 30 grams. Probably 10 to 25 is like the most new ones, but I have a 30-gram girl right now that she's still getting new spots, and the spots keep growing. So I try to hang on to my babies till close to 10 grams, so I have an idea on sex, and then also, you know, what they're going to be. But I've had a gecko before that I literally had a couple red spots. I posted it for sale, and I went to get it out to get a new video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like overnight. It seems like there was just a ton of red spots, and I still wish that I wouldn't have sold that one now, but it happens.
So what was your first, like, because do you still have like your first like dowel that you use to like really start your projects, or?
Yep. So I still have Lizzie. She's behind me. I can get her out.
I love the backdrop, by the way, with all your little, with all the
So
enclosures.
this is Lizzie. I don't know if it's gonna focus.
Here, well, I'll put you on the screen. Hold on. Boom.
Oh, I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, this is really hard for people that do this. We'll try one more time. If not, we'll put her back. Can you see her? That's Lizzie. Oh, she went to the ground.
Oh, cool. See, this is why we do pictures.
Yes. This is hard, like for the people that do like palm tree. I don't know how you guys. Maybe it's easier when it's not like facing back at me, but
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Lizzie. She started everything. She's a mom to a lot of my babies, and she just makes awesome kids. So I'll put her
Awesome.
back before she starts jumping.
Before she takes off.
Yeah.
The Palm Street people, like, even when you see the YouTube auctions and stuff, I guess they have it set up where they have another camera that faces like in either a light box or like a little area so that you could kind of put them there. But I do see, like, I was taking pictures yesterday of some of my geckos, and just even in the light box, you're like, stay, like, just don't move. I'm like trying to get the picture, and finally they're in the right position. You're getting your camera ready, and then it just bolts or climbs up the side again. It's quite challenging. So I can only imagine trying to do that live to show off a gecko, especially if you're having, like, you know, only a certain amount of time to show off. Have you done Palm Street yourself yet, or?
No, I haven't. I don't know. I never have a ton. I feel like, and I know I see people now doing like smaller shows, you know, where they only bring, you know, 5 or 10 geckos.
Yeah.
But I haven't. I don't know. I don't know. I have mixed thoughts on Palm Street.
Fair enough.
Yesterday I watched an auction that they were just like these, I don't even know who they were. They're like YouTube kids that bought a collection and just were, you know, they were selling these geckos. I don't even think they've had them for like more than 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is
Oh no.
I don't know. I have mixed. I probably won't do live auctions. I do have a couple that I post for sale on there, so I haven't. I've not applied to do the live auctions, and I don't really think I probably will. I never have that much available at a time, so I don't know. Probably not.
There's so many options out there now, though, right? Like you have Morph Market, you have the auctions on Morph Market, you know, you have your own website, expos. Instagram is huge. A lot of people tend to sell their animals on Instagram. But yeah, with so many options, you know, to commit to one. In Canada, we don't have the option for Palm Streets. You know, it's not an option for us, but we do have the option for like the Morph Market and Morph Market auctions. It is not as popular here, though. I have seen only a handful of geckos go up on auction in Canada from like since they started doing it. And you just don't have the same foot traffic. Like, you know, a lot of them just either don't meet the reserve, or, you know, I did buy a pair of Gargs on auction to support another Canadian breeder, but It's not the same. Like when I go and I look and there's so many, available in auction in the States, and then I have to sit there and I'm like, okay, I got to calculate the currency exchange and how much it's going to be to import, and that ends up being a little bit more than, depending on what animal you're looking at. But and then if you're looking at getting one, if you're doing an import, it makes more sense for you to get multiple, because if
Yeah.
if you're going to bring it in, I'm also bringing a whole bunch of them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It is expensive, and the exchange rates, man, it stinks right now. I wish it was better for you guys. That is really hard. I don't.
Yeah. We're doing a reasonable import, a reasonable size import from the States. No, not the States, sorry, Europe, again in April. And we were trying to sort out the payment for the animals, and every day I would check the currency exchange, and you would just see the exchange go up and up and up, and I'm like, every day it's becoming more and more expensive in
Oh
Canadian
no.
to pay for these geckos. So yeah, it's so up in the air, like and
Yeah.
especially for the States, and we'll see what happens with the tariffs and stuff, how that's going to impact things. But um definitely a bit of a challenge. I mean, how are you finding with you have the red spots, so I would imagine they're pretty hot item
Yeah.
for you to be able to sell.
I think so. I mean, it's still kind of a niche thing. Like, not everyone loves spots, but the reason I do spots is because I love the spots. So, you
Yeah.
know, my goal with every pairing is, to hold back my best one or two. I hold back from each pairing, usually a male and female, and then I kind of like whittle, like we'll make more cuts as time goes by. But I mean, I think there are a lot of people who like red spots. I feel like there's new people every day who like red spots. I've turned a couple people into liking red spots. Like a local guy that his girlfriend got one from me, and he did not like spots. He's like, "You're turning me into a spot lover." So that was fun. But spots are, I think, too, when you can watch them grow, and like go from like this like 8 to 10 gram gecko that has a couple spots, and then see them, at 30, 40 grams. It's
Yeah.
really cool to see the change. But yeah, I think spots kind of, I feel like it's in waves. Like, I'll have a bunch of people, what do you have available? And then, there's a couple weeks that go by and not a lot of people want me spots. But I think that's with everything, that kind of comes and goes. And I try to have at least like a handful available at all times. But I'm also like, I'm letting them go as I decide not to keep them.
Yeah.
But so yeah.
But you're also holding on to them a little bit longer as well, right? Because you want to see their development to be able to really pick which one you're going to keep.
Yes. Yeah. It's very rare I'll let one go before like 7, 8 grams. I have let a couple go. People are always like, I've had people say, well, that gecko wasn't, I didn't see that one posted. And, honestly, they're probably all for sale if someone wants one really bad. I mean, the worst I can say is no, but, I've had people, hey, I want that gecko. Okay, well, I could maybe sell it. But it just depends. Like, if I really love it, I won't sell it. And,
Yeah.
I'd rather keep my nicest ones. But I also at the same time know that it's still the same parents making the geckos. So I'm confident if I kept not the nicest one, I'm confident I could still make nice babies with that one.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
so that's what I tell people too, if they don't want everyone wants the biggest red spot, the best red spot, but the more red spots there are, the nicer they are, the more they are. And I try to, especially new people that, don't know as much about spots. I'm like, you could take this less expensive animal and make super nice geckos. Don't just look at it. But I get it. I get the visual, because that was me too. I wanted the spottiest. But to be honest, a lot of my first and second season parents, they weren't. If you looked at them, and actually, if you look at Keshin Clone now, she's probably one of my most consistent females with producing red spots. She doesn't have a lot of red spots herself.
Yeah.
But her parents and grandparents do.
Okay.
So, I look at that. Like, that's one thing. I don't buy geckos too often now, but, I want to know their full history. I want to know where they came from, what lines they are the parents and grandparents and offspring of the parents' body? How consistent is the pairing?
Yeah, and like you're saying, I'm sure like you've had somewhere that's come out from a really spotty pairing that might not have as many spots, but in the right pairing, they might produce some really amazing animals, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So before we start showing some of your animals, I'm curious, and anyone who's listening live today, if you have any questions, like don't hesitate to put them in the chat. We'll bring them up. Actually, here we go. Quincy has a question. Have you noticed any correlation between base color and spot color? You beat me to it.
So I think most red spot animals now are red base or some kind of red base. I am working on, I don't know if I sent you a picture of this pairing. I am working on putting red spots on yellow bases, and I have a couple, Nova. She's a female I produce that's yellow base and has tons of bullseyes and red spots. And actually, Lizzie is mom to her. And I'm working on some of more yellow base red spots, but most red spots are on red bases. I have, but I actually am working on a lot of orange base, so bright orange. I have a gecko named Clementine that I didn't send a picture of her, but she is just bright orange, and I like the orange bases more with the red spots because when they're fired up, the red spots still pop and
Okay.
they don't get drowned out in the base.
Okay.
I don't love when you can't see the red spots when they're fired up. So one of my things is I'm working on just trying to make the red spots still bright along with a really bright base, which is difficult because every pairing I feel like you have some that there's kind of an array of colors. You'll have some that are more red, and then you'll have some that are more orange. So it just depends. But I love the orange base.
Are you working with other traits and stuff that to see how it impacts the spots, like things like hypo and soft scale, or tangerine, where it might impact just kind of how you see them on the animal, or?
I do not really understand the whole hypo thing, so I probably have hypos, but I don't. I don't really pay attention to that. I'm sure I have
Okay.
some, and I talked to Mark at Gecko Room a little bit about this. I'm like, I don't understand, what it is, and so not really. I don't have any tangerine geckos, although I do wonder, some of my ones that I'm getting this bright orange. I'm like, where did that? I don't know. I mean, the parents are all Dalmatians or Super Dals, so I'm not sure where
Yeah.
it came from, but I'm getting some orange out of, more red geckos, especially my Trixie Carnage pairing. I got a lot of orange. That's where Clementine came from. So.
Okay. And um the I see animals with like the big, like almost like a more of an ink block like spot, but red. How are you finding, like you're working with that as well, right? Like is there, like, are you finding ways to be able to duplicate that are more consistent, or any tips that you could share with people who are working with dolls, on how it's worked with you and your project? Because I think the whole thing with red spot is it's so hard to understand how it works, right? And how to get the red spots without, and removing black spots, or how to increase the size of the spots instead of the numbers, or so. Do you have any information that you're willing to share on that, or?
I think I really, I have a gecko named Ruby. She's covered in red ink spots. So, ink spots that are red. And then I have a gecko named Boss that I produced. Of course, I should have sent pictures of these geckos now that I'm thinking about it, but he's got red ink spots as well. So I paired them together, and I am getting, now most of them are still fairly small. Well, I've got a couple that are still fairly small, but my oldest one does have red ink spots. So I think you can still make red ink spots with small red spot parents, but I think that it's easier the bigger the parent spots are. Now I'm not doing it. I mean, am I doing it consistently yet? Oh, wouldn't say that. But Boss, this is his first. So last season was his first season. So my babies are still growing. But it seems to be all his babies have red ink spots.
Cool.
And I think it's just like, black ink spots. I think the more you produce, if you keep pairing, big spots to big spots, you're probably going to get big spots. My goal is to hold back the best of those babies, and then, keep pairing, ones that are better than the last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a couple pairings going. So my Ruby and Boss. Let's see. I'm trying to look at my. Yeah, I've got a couple pairings going that I'm working on the red ink spots, and I've got some babies held back that have some big spots, but it's definitely harder than black spots. And also, I think people will take 2 red spots, pair them together, and sometimes they don't get red spots. And I really think there's not enough in the lineage or something with that. You don't always, red spots isn't that easy to make, I don't think.
So Neo brings up a good point, and yeah, so when I had Robbie from Robbie's Reptiles on the show, we talked about spots, and he had a theory that he felt that red spots are recessive. So, and I mean, it's so complicated, right? Because you even are looking at even just regular Dow spots where some lines appear to show up recessive and others not so much. Like I've had animals that are a pairing that's completely no spots on these animals and produce animals that have a lot of spots. So I could see how that could come from, but I mean, have you experienced that with the red spot, like working with red spots where it could look to lean more recessive, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I am not sure. I do think if it's not in the lineage, I mean, spots can come from anywhere, but for red spots, I really think that there has to be that consistent red spot in the lineage to produce red spots. And I think you can definitely take one gecko with red spots and pair it to a patternless, and you're going to get a Dalmatian of some sort. So I think you only really need it in one parent, but when you do it in both parents, I think your outcome's a lot better. And I really do find that just certain lines reproduce things better than others. I've seen geckos that are crazy spotted, and then they don't make that spotty of babies, but I don't know the lineage. I don't know, these aren't my geckos. I'm just see people doing it, and it's like, well, I don't know what the parents looked like, what the grandparents looked like. So I don't know. Spots, I still think there's a lot to learn about spots.
And just for everyone listening, like these are just theories, and like don't take what's said here as law. These are things that like we're learning through working right with different projects and animals. Like I have to say, like I have one project, my empty back lily project that been working on was a strawberry phantom empty back female to a tricolor lily, and I got a lot of yellow and red, like vibrant lilies that were very clean with no spots. But I popped out one really random dark base, like low expression harlequin, empty back, that started getting red spots all over his base, and it was so random, and you could see like maybe it is tied to the red, because I know there's red in in the lineage, and they're making red lilies. And so like, it can be so, when you see things like that, it makes you question, and you're like, okay, where this spot come from? So now that, to be fair, he has both. He has like black spots and a couple little red spots, but it was so unexpected, right, to see that come out of that pairing. Neo is saying 100%, but when we get talking, we can start working on proving theories out as a community. Exactly. And that's why we have these chats, right? Sharing what we've learned and different experiences that we've had is the way that you kind of get all those pieces to that puzzle to try to like put it together. And we've been seeing a lot of that with like Pixel and a lot of other different genetics that we're talking about. So yeah, let's start bringing up some pictures because you sent me some awesome pictures of some projects that you're working and some
Okay.
animals you're working with, and you could tell us about this lovely gecko.
So that gecko is Stud Muffin, and he is a Keshin clone and Carnage baby
Okay.
who has been paired to one female this season. I think the first set of eggs were done, so I'm hoping for eggs next season that are excuse me, good. He's part of my big red spot project. Carnage is an amazing red spot gecko that came from Kenny, cold-blooded only, and all of Carnage's kids were just amazing. I mean, they all could have been holdbacks. So this is one of the males I kept, and he has those oil type spots that when he's not fired up all the way in this picture, but they kind of disappear when he's fired up, and then when he's fired down, they're pretty dark. But he's just got a lot of big red spots. So I'm excited for his kids. He gets like an orangey red. He's not true red, so his red spots still show when he's fired. So that is one of my favorite geckos.
He's got some pretty good a fair size red spot. Like they really pop on him, eh?
Yeah, that's what I like, the size of the spots and how many he has. So yeah, I love that gecko.
So you're saying this is his first season breeding, so it's going to be a whole new surprise. What pops out?
Yeah, this season I'm super excited because I'm trying. This is the first season that most of my geckos I'm pairing I've produced. So
okay,
it's just fun to and I'm trying. I've sold a couple proven breeders, and people are like, "Why are you selling them?" And I'm like, "I'm just trying to breed my geckos that I produced. If I can't, I want to move all those original ones out. I mean, I'll keep some, but it's fun breeding the ones that I made so I can see what they make. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Love it. Who's this one? I love this one.
That is Paprika, and the picture, I guess it's a little bit dark, but she is covered in big red spots. That spot by her mouth, the corner of her mouth, it's a huge red spot. Her other side probably has even more red spots, but she is also one I produced here this is her first breeding season as well.
Okay.
I got she laid one dud and one good egg. So I've got one egg incubating, and I'm super excited to see what she makes. So
that's awesome. And who'd you pair? Do you you want to share who you paired her with, or?
I paired her with Batista, and I think that I sent a picture of both of them together.
Okay.
Sure. And Batista's one that I produced as well.
And we got a little one here.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't show up as much as I hoped it would. But this is out of Lemon Drop, my Phantom Lily White, my yellow Phantom Lily White, and Carnage. My goal with this pairing was to make Phantom Lilies with red spots. This one is my holdback, and it's yellow based. So it's fired down here, but mom is yellow based, dad is red based. And I got from last season, I think actually all of them, except for one, were yellow based. So it was kind of interesting out of that pairing. So this is my holdback. So I'm going to try to get more and more, and it's still small and it's got a lot of red spots. So
Quincy's telling you they all look hypo so far.
Yeah, see, I know. That's what I told Mark. I'm like, I know I probably have some, but I don't know how to tell. So
this is exciting. So you're getting red spots on a yellow base.
Yeah. So this is and I have I think I posted a video recently of it fired up. But yeah, it's yellow base, red spots, and it's almost, I don't think there's any black spots on it at all. So
Brian at Altitude's gonna be so jealous. He's been working on yellow base red spots for a while. Curious for you, one question.
yeah,
Are you producing red spot on yellow base for lilies or non-lilies as well?
I'm working on both. So I have two
Okay.
projects going. I have this one that's red spots on a yellow base lily, phantom lily.
Okay.
And then I have two other projects going with yellow base, red spots. Now, my breeders for the yellow base red spot project, they do have some black spots as well. They're geckos that I
Okay.
produce. But my goal is to get mostly red spots. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I have been successful in getting red spots and yellow base, just not all red spots, except for that gecko.
Yeah, this is a really nice gecko, and I'm really happy to see you working with Lily in Dow spots, because I have one project this year that I'm doing with Lily, and I came across this yellow lily with really big red spots on her, and she doesn't have a whole lot, but they're on her base and they're also on the white on her
Uh,
lily. So she'll have some red spots on her head as well, which really pop on white. And yeah, so that's I posted some of my dolls yesterday, but she's the one that's paired with that the one you had commented on is who she's
oh
paired
yeah.
with.
Oh,
So we'll see what happens with that group, but it's refreshing to see something different, because you don't see a lot of pattern, like people working on like pattern dolls.
mhm.
And like I saw you post a couple of your phantom lilies with dowel spots, and they're really cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
the nice thing too about my Phantom Lily is let's see, I paired her, this is the second, well, this will be the third season, but I have babies from 2 seasons, and I'm only getting either Dalmatians or Phantom Lilies. I'm not getting
Okay.
any regular lilies. So she's giving me all Phantom Lilies, which I'm excited about, because that was my goal, was to make the Phantom
Yeah.
lilies. You know, that like you saw, like Cryptiles, I don't know what happened to them, but you know, they had some really nice like phantom lilies with red spots. But theirs were red base. So this is
Okay.
I'm excited for this, because I don't think, I mean, there could be someone working on it. I haven't seen it. So I'm excited to see where this will take me. And that's a male, so I'm holding that one back. And then I'll eventually pair him to one of my probably one of my red ink spot girls.
Watch you start getting offers. Wink, wink.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I don't think a lot of these ones that, like, I don't think there's
Yeah.
I have another one that like, people have been begging me for her. I'm like, there's not like a price that I'm not willing to, because I love them that much. I'm not willing to just let them go if I don't feel it. If I need them, I'm keeping them.
Yeah,
So
and when they're little too, like I have a couple here, I was like, maybe, they're at weight now. Maybe I could be interested in selling them. But then I'm like, I want to see what that thing looks like when it's 15 grams. Like I
yeah,
want to see how this is going to grow out, because I don't want to
yeah.
kick myself after for selling it.
No, and spots, I feel like between 10 and 20 grams, I change so much that,
Yeah.
you know, you really, I mean, it can be a crazy change. I gave you some, I know we're getting into some progressions. That's my favorite part of just seeing how much they change. Um, oh,
I think
that,
it's the next couple slides. So
yeah,
who's
that's
this one?
Cayenne.
Mhm.
My mom named that one, so she'll send me names for geckos. So my mom named this one. She is a ginger carnage female, and she's going to be part of my red ink spot project. She's not breeding this year yet, but she'll be ready next year. She just hit 40 grams, so she's got huge red spots. Her other side has even bigger red spots. And you know, she has some black too, but my goal would be just to make more of the red spots. If there's some black, it doesn't bother me, as long as we have big red spots. So I'm excited for her. I think she's the only one I held back from that pairing, because I paired Carnage to 3 different females, so I only held back, 3 or 4, I think, total.
Okay.
I love her.
Exciting. Yeah, she's really pretty. When I came across all the projects you were working on your page, I was like, you getting me convinced into the dowels. And so that's kind of why I decided really to start working at least with one project, because I kind of fell in love with some of them.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're so fun because they're all so different too.
And now we got some progression, and this is wild because you can see it from 6 grams to 30, right? Like the
Yep.
difference.
Yep. And so that is Clementine. So good. I'm glad I did send a picture of her. I couldn't remember what I sent. So Clementine is out of Trixie and Carnage, and Clementine fires. So she fires like bright orange, and her spots still really pop on her base. But that is 6 grams, and I mean there's a few red spots, but it's just crazy. I have another progression of her from like the same 6 grams to I think 20, and it's just crazy seeing how much they change. I like to post these too because sometimes people will see that 6 gram gecko and they're like, oh, that's not, that's nothing special, and I'm like, just wait, like I promise you, like there will be spots. But she's almost all red spots. She has a couple green spots. Carnage has some green spots too, but she may be pairing. I'm sorry, she may be paired this year, but I am not sure yet. If I do pair her, it's going to be a later season pairing. So
Fair enough. They're I mean, the spots, I mean, it would be similar to anything that you're working with geckos, right? Like even if you're working with ports, you'll see tiny
yeah,
little ports, and over time, I mean, they can maybe not expand so much, or they can just go crazy and expand depending on what else is at play, right?
yeah,
So, and this is where for in your case, trusting the lineage and knowing what you're able to produce out of that gives you a better idea when you're seeing them as hatchlings. You're like, oh yeah, that one's gonna go it's gonna go
right.
wild.
Yeah, I would say I don't think at 6 grams I would have guessed it would look like that, but once they get closer to like that 9-10 grams, I have a pretty good idea of if they're going to be, crazy nice or just nice. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them with the spot size, I have a couple now that they're just little, and the red spots are huge already. I mean, I know those are going to be crazy nice. And those are ones, I'm holding back, but yeah, sometimes, I mean, some of them you just know, and the others you're like, I don't know. It could be nice, and those are usually ones that I grow more and then decide. But yeah, it's still crazy looking at that picture of the 6 gram.
Absolutely. And we got another progression picture here too, which is again, it's just wild to see.
That is Ink Sanity, and so that was him on the left at, I don't know how many grams that was, but he was little. That's out of my Spot Sanity, who came from UK lineage, and then Bella, who came from Damn Daniel. She came from Pangea, and so I have Ink Sanity, and then his sister, Belle, that will be breeding for me. Their mom actually passed away after the season that I only got 3 babies from her this one season, and he was one, then Belle, and then I had one other that I sold, but it was January, and they had been cooling down, and she kind of didn't eat as much, and one day I just found her dead in the tank.
Oh no.
And she was, at the time, the most expensive gecko that I've ever bought. She was amazing. I loved her. And I'm like, of course I freak out. I am I'm super careful with, well, first, I'm just really picky. If I'm going to buy a gecko, it's got to be from someone reputable. I'm super crazy about quarantine. I quarantine geckos, and upstairs in my house in a separate room. And of course, you know, when she was dead though, I'm like, what's like, is something wrong?
Yeah.
So I took her in for a necropsy, and they had found she had a retained egg that she never laid.
Oh, wow.
And the egg had burst open and there was infection in the egg. So she basically had sepsis.
Oh, that's too bad.
I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, I'm glad I got the necropsy done just to have peace of mind. Like, it's nothing. And the vet's like, there's nothing you could have done different. Because, of course, that's what I think, you know, what could I have done something different? But it's just a fluke thing. It's a fluke thing. So yeah, so I'm excited for her kids to be taking her place, but that progression is crazy. I mean, he's just covered in spots now. So
yeah, that's wild.
And that's one, you know, I wouldn't sell as a baby either, because it's like,
well, that's the thing, right? Like,
yeah,
you just don't know.
no. And
It's-
so this is Stud Muffin again, but this is Stud Muffin next to his picture as a little baby. So
okay, wow.
So red spots come later than black spots. That's another thing. Red spots take a lot more time to develop. You don't see a ton of red spots before 3-4 grams. I mean, I have some geckos at 4-5 grams. They have quite a few, but overall, they're going to come later. So it's usually, you know, 3 months old. They're starting to get some, but yeah, he had like 0. You know, he started out with 0, which they all start out with 0.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's wild to see, like in his case, a lot of his spots that were showing up as black spots when he's little almost kind of faded out and got masked as he got older. And then the red spots really took center stage, eh?
Yeah, and I think that's those spots where they, you know, people talk about spots in different layers of the skin. And I think because when he's fired down, those spots are pretty dark.
Okay.
He's not fired up in that picture, but he's kind of in between. And so it's interesting though, because different times you'll see them and other times you won't. So it's not, you know, that one black spot, you know, that one never changes. That one's always dark. So
Yeah. And then the other ones kind of just come and go.
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah. This is Rotten Tomatoes, a new girl that I got not too long ago from my friend Sierra at Sea Star Cresties. She has had Rotten Tomato for a couple years. I had been eyeing Rotten Tomato since she was for sale years ago. And she's got this amazing, do you see those? It's like bullseye spots.
Yeah, it's wild. And that big one, eh? On the, like, it's just
So she has them on the other side too. She has multiple. So, but actually, both of these geckos they're going to be paired in the later this summer sometime. But both of them came from Spot On Geckos.
okay.
I think they're up in aren't they in Canada?
I think so. I can't check. I'm on my phone.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're in Canada, but I don't know that they do too much breeding anymore.
Okay.
But Nova North has some bullseyes as well. So my goal with this pairing is just to make more bullseyes. It seems to be you only really need one parent to reproduce the bullseyes. So I'm hoping with both parents having some that I can get really good results.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, I think their spots together are going to be amazing. I've got a Rotten Tomato baby that's only 6 grams or something, and her kids are just the spots are crazy already.
Really,
and, bullseyes, and so I'm excited for this pairing. It probably won't be for a little while still, but I am planning on doing it this year. If not this year, I'll definitely pair them together next year.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we got, so you sent me this picture, but you also sent me a video. So I'll pop the video on.
Oh, yeah.
because sometimes it's
boring.
just kind of nicer to see the dimension right in the video. They're so funny when they have little squabbles like that.
Yeah, this is a better video. I had posted one where the one literally grabbed it and threw it off. I don't know if you saw that
It's like,
video.
ugh.
But they were a little better behaved. But these are 3 of my females from last season that I'm keeping. So I'm hoping they're still growing. They're the biggest ones on the left. Well, they're all probably about 25 to 30 grams. But these are all holdbacks that I'm keeping. Different parents. So, but really just working on that red spot, bigger red spots, clean base. So yeah, I'm excited for them to grow more.
That's awesome. And then we have these guys.
Okay, so the one on the left, that's Belle, and that is Bella's other kid. So Insanity was one, and then that's Belle. So she looks just like her mom. She's it's crazy how much they look alike, but she'll be breeding probably later this season. And then the one in the middle, I produced out of Camo and Lizzie. And she's got a lot of bullseyes as well. And I love her big, she's got great head structure. Camo is a Death Star Aurea kid from Kenny and Sam Crestopia collab. And I love the one in the middle though. That one, I can't wait for her to have babies. And then the one on the right is from Donna at Coffee and Cresties, and she's a Legion and Prestige female, and her spots are just crazy, and her base is so nice. So this is part of my Ink Spot female group.
Okay. Awesome. And I think that's it for the pictures, but you did send me another video of these guys.
Oh yeah, I thought this would be interesting. Just so the one on the left, it weighs about 30 grams, and the one on the right, I think, is like 5 or 6. And the only difference between them is they were born on the same day, but one eats crickets and one doesn't.
Oh wow, eh? So that's a really interesting thing to show, because I've seen a lot of things being posted recently where breeders are being shamed for geckos that are maybe not where they feel they should be at size at a certain age. And some of the factors, I think there's many factors, right? I think that people don't necessarily consider. It's not necessarily that the breeder is not offering bugs. Some geckos just don't like eating bugs, and then you'll either have to blend it in or try to find other ways to give them bugs. Some of them just grow differently. I've noticed in our area and people who live within our kind of climate and temperature that I like the hatchlings. I've heard this a few times where people find that their hatchlings grow a bit slower because of whether it's the pressure and that we have cooler weather and the season's a bit different when you're comparing to people who are breeding, let's say in Florida or somewhere where it's really, or California where it's warm, right? So in this case, is it like you want to kind of give some background story to this, or like why there's like you're feeling that you're saying so it's one eats bugs and one doesn't, right?
So yeah, so basically at around between 2 and 3 weeks, typically by 4 weeks at the most, I'm offering my hatchlings crickets. Now I do tongue feed all my babies, but I do it pretty fast. I mean, people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so much time," but like I do it pretty fast. It's my chance to also like get the geckos out, like look at them, check on them. Oh, is there a little stuck shed on its tail? Let me get that off. I'm taking more time than when I'm going through and feeding their diet. But so I try to get them on crickets pretty early, and I feed crickets at least 1 to 2 times a week, typically.
Okay.
And most of them I can get to eat crickets. This is actually the only one from last season that I cannot, I've tried squishing the cricket's head. That's usually like a foolproof way to do
Yeah.
it. You know, usually they'll all take it. And this one just will not eat crickets.
It
And
just turns its head and it's like, no, bolts
it's
the other
like,
way.
yeah, it hatched in, I think that one was July. It was, they were both hatched in July, I believe.
Okay.
And it's just crazy that I just can't believe the difference. Well, I can, because I remember how long our first gecko, our pet, took to grow. But
Yeah.
it does depend on a lot of things, I think. You know, I take a lot of time working with them to get them eating crickets. I know some people just swear by throwing crickets in, but I want to know that they're eating them. And again, it doesn't take me that much time, so I just like doing it. But
Yeah.
but I think too, I think temperature really, I talked to a couple people this year. I think temperature really makes a big difference with how the geckos grow. I am trying to keep my gecko room now like 75 at least during the day.
Mhm.
It's down to it was hot when I came in here. It was 78 when I came in here, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I have the window open, but it's like 75 in here, so I try to keep it at least 75. Now my eggs are not kept in this room. My eggs are kept.
For Canadians, that's 23.8 Celsius. I'm like, I gotta look it
Yeah,
up here.
yeah. I don't know how. But I think the temperature. I think upping the temperature really helps them grow, and then crickets. I mean, I think that can geckos survive on just one of the gecko diets? Yeah, they can, but
Yeah.
I feel like the growth is almost stunted in a way. I mean, I don't know how they grow in the wild. I mean, I don't know. The wild ones are small, right? I mean, they're just
Yeah.
smaller geckos. But I mean, I'm not force feeding my geckos. You know, I honestly feel like when I feed them crickets 2 times a week, they are more apt to eat more of their gecko diet. I
Yeah.
feed gecko diet 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and um, and then crickets usually twice. And I feed crickets usually year round. There might be a week or two in December that I can't get them because of the temperatures, but I try to always have crickets. And I also have a dubia roach colony, so
Okay.
I can feed the dubia roaches. I find that my geckos like crickets better.
Fair enough.
I don't know if it's just because they're used to it, but sometimes the roaches, they're like, no, I don't want that.
You're like, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do feel like it's, and a lot of times then when my geckos get to adult size, some don't want crickets. Usually my breeding females want them all the time. But some of my males won't take them. So, but yeah, I offer all the geckos crickets at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, I find my adults aren't as interested in them. The breeder females, though, there's a bunch of them that like if I'm offering like a silkworm or a hornworm, they're all over it. Like,
Oh,
I have one specifically who loves hornworms. That's her favorite
oh
treat.
my goodness.
But some of them will like the crickets. Like I still offer it to some of them, but you get to know them, right? You get to know
Yeah,
which ones are like, if there's crickets in there, they're like, oh, like I'm not interested. I don't want to touch those. And if you try to offer them on tongs or something, they're just not about it.
yeah,
But I mean, you do what you can, right? Like, I know for some of my more picky ones, hey, I'll blend it into their food, and they
yeah.
seem to love that. So you try to get it to them the way, whatever works best for you. Um, we've hit the hour mark, but I'd like you to share. Are there any with the projects you're working on, because you have it really focused and dialed in, right? What you're working on. Is there anything new that you would consider or that you're maybe thinking of adding to projects or expanding on, or is there anything that you're willing, if that's if you're willing to share, right?
I don't think any. Well, nothing's a secret. I don't think. I think this year is more just breeding the geckos that I've produced, and I have a lot of first-time females this year. I'm kind of trying to look over at my list going. I have a little like whiteboard that's in the corner of my
Yeah.
room that I keep track of everything on. I'm working on. I am this year. I have a gecko named Cosmo. Wait a son is it Comet? No, Cosmo. I have Comet and Cosmo. Why I did that, I don't know, because now I get them confused. I hate naming geckos because I'll like hear of names, but I'll hear of people's names. They name them, and I'm like, oh, that's a good name. But I'm not creative at coming up with names, so mine are like really, just not exciting. But he has like a lot of portholes, like really strong portholes, and Dalmatian as well. So I'm excited to breed him. So I'm working on more of like the porthole Dals this year.
Okay.
And then just trying to make more red only geckos, red spot only geckos. So
Yeah.
I was gonna try to get one out, but I have a pairing going, Ariel and Maraschino, where I have a holdback female. She has all red spots. So I would like to just make all red spot. Now, I don't mind if there's black spots thrown in personally. I know some people, want all red spots, but
Yeah.
I'm working on that. And then, of course, just red ink spots. I've got the Bullseye project going, and then I've got black ink spot project going, and then I've got the yellow base red spot project going. So I've got a couple.
You got a lot. You got a lot of it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
focused and you got a lot. And this is opportunities when you're like, oh, should I grab the gecko and show it? Or this is when you can post it on your story.
Yes.
So you can go back and say, this is the one I was talking about today.
Yes, I know. I thought it was so hard going back and like, do I get new pictures of things? Do I take ones that I have tons of pictures on my phone? And it was hard going back. I'm like, I know I'm going to regret pulling up certain ones, but yeah, I do try to post a lot to Instagram. My availability is usually posted to Instagram stories.
Okay.
I've had some people like, I don't ever see you post on Morph Market. I do post some on Morph Market, but a lot of times they just don't make it there. So I will post to Morph Market, but it's just more, I don't know. It's not that much work, but it is more work to post things. Got to put in all the information. And I personally like videos better for Dalmatians, especially because they just look different on every single side. I like flipping them around. And so I find that pictures on Morph Market for Dalmatians, it's just hard to get a big picture of the gecko sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do post to Morph Market, but usually it's to my stories. I guess there's a way that you can like notify yourself when I post. I know some people have done that, like, so it notifies them.
Yeah, you can go and set like your favorite, and there's another thing where you can put a notification every time someone posts, it pops up.
I'm not very I'm not good with technology, so the people have told me, but I don't know how to do it. So, but yeah, now I'm just working on all the spots this year. Nothing too like crazy other than just some different things that I've done in the past. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you do with your spotted project.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a small project. Like I don't have a whole bunch of spots, but like one thing I noticed when we started vending at expos was the most common that people look for are Dalmatians, and Dalmatians with red spots, and they don't care if there's black spots. They like the confetti look. They like, they'll come around and be like, do you have lily white and do you have Dalmatians?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna make some lily Dals then.
Yeah, that's cool that people are asking for red spots.
Yeah, and it was like one of the first geckos I sold a lot. I had a red that I had purchased, just wasn't the right fit that I wanted for the project, so I ended up bringing it at the expo, after like growing it up for a while. So it was it was really nice, right? And then that thing went. It was the first. She was gone. The first gecko gone. It didn't take long for me. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's hard to like really pick and choose what you want to work with, and I think that comes with time. And it's really important to work with stuff that makes you happy, and that that you are going to be excited to see the progress. Like for me, like I have very specific, and then if I'm adding anything new, I want it to fit within projects that I'm already working with somehow. That way I can, well, one, justify it, because I'm like, oh, well, this is going to go my phantom project,
Yeah.
or this will go with my, with my empty back. So I can kind of work it into stuff that I'm already working on. But sometimes it's fun to have a little side project to be like, oh,
Yeah.
this one's just for fun.
That's very fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Same thing. Like I mean, I think that Lily White Phantom one, I wasn't sure if I would repair that pairing this year again,
Yeah.
because I have my holdback from them that I want to breed. And I asked on my stories the other day, should I repair? And I had so many people say yes. So
Because they want them.
and so I did repair them this year, but it's mainly, and I mean, I may hold one back, but I mainly did it because there is a want for that, or people are wanting that,
Yeah.
but it is fun though for me too, because I do like seeing, like you said, it's just fun to see them grow and change, and that's why I do Dalmatians. I was told by a couple people in the beginning, like, oh no, you need to do more morphs or work on, like, you can't just do Dalmatians. I'm like, well, why not? Like, that's what I love. Like, I have a lot of different gals, and so that's what I'm sticking with. I don't see myself venturing off too much. The only thing that I could say that I might do, my Phantom Lily, I might have something going for her next year, kind of like a secret thing going on with her, but that would be my only thing. And then it's like, if I do get a different morph, now it's like, well, what am I going to do with these babies? I feel like I'm just making babies to make babies.
You don't want to just make it to sell. You want to
Right.
make it because you have a goal, and there's a
Right.
reason that and the intent is to hold back
Right.
at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, well, it's not going to help my goals with Dalmatians. So that is definitely something I think about, because I don't want to have a bunch of babies that I just like, oh, I have to get rid of all these babies. That's why I keep my numbers small. I don't have enough that I can't tongue feed all the babies. So I know people still think I'm crazy, but it's fine. It's fun.
You want to share your socials with everyone before we wrap up, just so they know, like, where to find you, like where are the best places to see where you're posting and stuff? And
Yep, I mainly use Instagram. I do have a Facebook page as well, but I'm really bad at messages on that, because it's tied to my personal page. So, like, I miss notifications. I just went on the other day and there's like a bunch of messages I missed. So I don't know. Well, but definitely, if you're wanting to reach out, Instagram Messenger. I'm on Morph Market. I don't have a website currently. Not sure if that will ever happen or not. But yeah, Instagram, stories for my babies. Typically, you can always message me if you're looking for something in particular. I love helping people find, they'll send me, like, this is my female, like, I need a male, and I love helping people try to find one that is going to make them what they want. And I've told so many people, like, no, that don't get that one, and I like talk people out of sales sometimes.
Parkour
like,
says you're killing it with Dal, so why do more?
What you want? Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Parkour. Thank you, Parkour. I appreciate it, Mike. But yeah, I'm always willing with questions. I'm always here to help people. Questions. If you're looking for something in particular, but yeah, mainly Instagram, Morph Market, and that's it. Oh, I don't have TikTok. That's a spam. TikTok account is a spam page. So.
Okay, well, good to know. Don't follow you on TikTok. It's not you.
No, they tried to sell my geckos to people like several times on there. They have this whole page. Wow. There's like thousands of followers. They're stealing my videos, and TikTok won't do anything.
That's wild.
So I know, I just don't want someone to be, scammed, but it is crazy, but there's nothing. I've tried. There's nothing I can do. So.
Do you do any expos at all, or?
I do a couple. I do one local expo that's in Columbus, Ohio. I do it usually every month. And then there's one that's twice a year here as well, and I do that one. I've been to Tinley as a, like visit, not vended.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever have enough stuff to like put on a Tinley table unless someone like let me, put some of their stuff or my stuff on their table. But
Yeah.
I like going to Tinley, and but local expos for sure. And I usually post it on my stories on my Facebook or my Instagram page. So
Awesome. Well, thank you, Megan, for joining us today and having an awesome chat about DALs. I do appreciate that you took the time to come on and talk to us. And if anyone has any questions, again, don't hesitate to drop anything in the chat, in the comments. Wow, we talked like an hour and 20 minutes.
oh my gosh, I was so nervous.
You did great.
Yeah, but I won't want to go back and rewatch it. I think I told you, my son's like, "Don't worry, Mom, only 3 people will be watching." I was like, "Okay."
Well, actually, I think you have 12 right now. So you can tell him it was more than 3.
Yeah,
And it goes up and down. But yeah, no, I honestly, I have a hard enough time going back and rewatching my own. Like, I don't go rewatch. I'll go and I'll grab clips and stuff to be able to share. But that is the awkward part, is when you go back and rewatch and you're like, oh, what did I say? Or, but no, it was a great chat, and very informative, and really cool to see the projects that you're working on. I mean, I admire all the pictures that you post, and I love the work that you're doing with the red dowels and like red spot dowels, and just the dowel project in general. So I'm excited to see, what you're gonna post this year, and some progression pics, and then what's gonna come from the projects that you're working on now. And yeah, it'll be it's never a dull moment, right? Because you'll have something and then you'll be like, oh, 6 months later, this is what it looks like now.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. But thank you so much for having me this morning. I know we talked about it last fall, and then I think like I kind of just like, oh, this is like not, I'm not that I was trying to get out of it, but I'm like, oh, we'll just wait.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And it's the right time. It's spring. People are loving, chatting about, different projects and stuff. And I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on. So I will put you backstage, and I will see you in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Crystal.
All right, thanks. And bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Thanks for those of you who are tuning in live. I did realize that during tea time, I forgot to mention, play the Epic promo. So I'm going to play that right now, because that is next week, April 4th. So if you haven't signed up for it yet, it's free registration. It's a lot of awesome information that's going to be shared through this event. So stick with me. I'm going to share the video right now.
It's called Epic, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. Epic is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. Epic is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. Epic is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.
So it's definitely going to be a fun time. I've registered, so I'm going to be joining in live. And again, it's on the 4th. So it's coming up fast. This is actually the last show, I guess, that I'm playing the Epic promo. So for those of you registered, if we're in the same stream, I'll see you there. And of course, you're not going to miss everything, because you get to go back and rewatch some of the videos that all of the videos that you haven't watched live. You can go back and replay, which is awesome. So again, thank you very much for joining today. Have a great Sunday. For those who are having bad weather and no power, I hope you get your power back, and I hope you have safe drives from the expo, and also hang in there. And for everybody else who's not having bad weather, well, we're jealous. So congrats on your great weather. Have an awesome Sunday. I'll see you next time, and have a great, start of your week.
Shake your dreams from your hair. I'm already there, right beside you.